And this week, Trump found himself in hot water. It all goes back to Trump going after the Khan family, a Gold Star family. You will remember Mr. Khan spoke at the Democratic National Convention. But Trump took heat, and even from his own party, when he criticized the family. On Wednesday, Donald Trump met with Gold Star families for about 30 minutes before a rally in Florida. Aaron Vaughn, a Gold Star mother whose Navy SEAL son was killed in Afghanistan, was in that meeting. She goes on the record. Good evening.
Good evening, Greta.
Karen, look, you know, I know what tomorrow is. Tomorrow's the anniversary of your son being killed, and I just, you know, frankly, the hardest thing in the world is, you know, how do you start an interview, you know, of a mother of a fallen member of our military, and then, of course, on the eve of the anniversary. I just don't even know how to start it with you. I can only tell you that, you know, my heart bleeds for you.
Thank you very much. That's enough. Thank you. Appreciate it.
He looks, you know, I looked at the pictures, you know, healthy, handsome young man. He had a family. It's just, you know, it's tough. I mean, I just, even if you don't know him, it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, he was an amazing human being, Greta, absolutely, and he was at the pinnacle of his life, honestly. He just turned 30 years old, beautiful wife, 2 amazing children, one almost 2, and a baby only 9 weeks old when he left this earth. So, yeah, it's been a horrific 5 years, but, you know, it is what it is, and we make it.
And now, of course, you know, we have you here tonight to ask you questions about the, you know, the simmering controversy with another Gold Star family, whose, you know, family also made the ultimate sacrifice as well. But where do you weigh in on this controversy of Donald Trump and Gold Star families?
The thing that I've been trying to say, and I appreciate you giving me this chance to just speak to the nation honestly, because what I want people to do is stop enough already with this outrage culture. You know, yes, if Mrs. Khan wants to be offended by the comment, she has every right to be, but the rest of us don't need to weigh in on her behalf. You know, Greta, my husband and I were very vocal about what we thought about this administration after our son's death and his rules of engagement, and we took a lot of flack for it, and we were willing to take it. And, you know, the Khan family, I just believe if they're anything like me, they surely had to expect some sort of blowback from this, you know, when you personally attack somebody from a very, very public stage. So, you know, they're offended. Okay, the whole nation does not need to weigh in. They're just one family. Families get offended all the time. And one thing that I like to say is that because I'm a Gold Star mother, I don't think that gives me special privilege. I don't think that means people need to bow down in my presence, and I don't think that if I say something really horrible about somebody that they don't have a right to respond.
I guess the thing that sort of worries me is I think of us, meaning whether it's the politicians or the media, is that, you know, sometimes we use sort of the grief or the pain of others, you know, then, you know, and I mean, while we're all fighting about this and arguing about they have real pain, you have real pain,
right,
and yet they also raise important issues. So it's like, you know, it's so complicated in many ways.
It is, and you know, that's the truth. Like, all of us are people, you know, if the Khans decided to engage politically, that's because they feel like they have something to say. It's the same reason I decided to engage politically, because I decided I had something to say, and I've been thankful to God for the platform that I've had to talk about specifically rules of engagement that have been imposed on our warfighters that have caused astronomical uprises in death tolls and wounded in action tolls. And you know, my husband and I have spent the past 4.5 years just trying to make Americans aware of what's happening to our warfighters, because our son absolutely died at the hands of terrible, negligent rules of engagement. If nothing else, he and 29 other brave, fearless, amazing Americans.
After meeting with Donald Trump in Florida, are you going to vote for him or not vote for him? Tell me your thoughts.
I do plan to vote for Donald Trump. I found him to be an extraordinarily warm, kind, soft-spoken, gentle man. He listened attentively to everybody's needs. I had assembled about 10 family members from Florida for the Jacksonville rally. He met with us for a good 30 minutes and just sat at the table, took his time. There was no pressure, no rush. We clearly felt like we had enough time to discuss whatever it was we felt like we needed to discuss. He listened respectfully. And I will say, we didn't spend our time talking about the Khan controversy. We spent our time talking about the future of our country, the thing that our sons at that table, our husbands, in some cases fathers and brothers, gave their life for. And that's what was critical to us, to talk about what the end game is in this war. This administration has refused to create an end game for this war and has actually said negative things about the word victory. And I just wonder how demoralizing that is to our troops. And we actually looked at Mr. Trump and said, you have to win. You have to win, and then you have to finish this war. You have to win the war after you win the election. So I'm in his court. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure he does, because the truth of the issue is, the outrage here is that a woman is running for president who stood over the caskets of 4 dead Americans and lied to their family members. And Greta, that's action. That is so much more egregious to me than the comment Mr. Trump made. You know, people can be offended by that all they want, and they have a right to be if they want to. But the egregious thing here is we have this candidate who physically took part in the deaths of those men, that not physically took part, I shouldn't say that, but physically had a role to play in the deaths of those men, and then certainly played that role when she told the family members that you know, it was a videotape that caused the outbreak there. And then, not only that, even more egregious than that, if people want to be outraged, you know, how about the fact that she's still today saying that these family members are lying about what she said? So, you know, to me though, the outrage, the decision about who becomes our next president of the United States is not based on who does the most outrageous or the least outrageous things. It should be based on who we think can lead this country. We're in a heck of a mess, at a crossroads unlike anything we've ever witnessed in our nation, I believe. I believe we're at a precipice, and I believe if something doesn't shift right now, with the quagmire we have in Washington, D.C., people refusing to get anything done for the people, and what it feels like to the people, to us out in the country, in regular America, is that all these politicians care about is re-election. And all they focus on is donors and that sort of behavior. And we've got a country to save, a country that my firstborn and only son died for. And I'm not going to stand idly by and watch that happen. I'm going to fight to make sure that the person gets in office who I believe can be an effective commander-in-chief and an effective president of the United States of America.
Karen, thank you. And I know that every day is tough for you. Tomorrow is particularly bad, especially for his widow and his 2 children, everybody else in your family. I appreciate joining us tonight, and I do hope you come back. And you know, I know it's so lame, but I do appreciate, you know, your son, and I know everybody else does too. But I know that that's so inadequate.
It's not inadequate. It's warm and tender, and I certainly appreciate your words. Thank you.
Thank you.